Well, thank you everybody for joining. I'm really looking forward to this, to our time together today. And I'm really pleased to see actually how many people are craving about work-life balance. You know, at the end of the day, we're all craving of some kind of balance, of some kind of wellness, of like feeling good about ourselves for doing the things that we want to do, but also not feeling guilty about the things that we don't do. So we've been 1 year into lockdown and our life have completely pivoted. You know, we've had to learn how to integrate our work life or work into our life. And for some of us, it's been a real challenge. Some of you have kids at home. You had to adapt to see your partner maybe 24/7, or you're living with a strange flatmate. You know, we've really had to completely change our routine to really adapt to this new environment. Like for me, for example, I'm in a full-time job and I run those workshops on the side. So I really had to really adapt and find this new routine that will work for me to avoid burnout. So, and at the end of the day, you know, it's really easy to end up so being busy with doing everything at once. And we can easily forget to do the simplest self-care activities like drinking water or sleeping properly or deeply listening to your partner, to your friends, to your family members. So, and eventually what happens is that we lose sight of our dreams, of our purpose, what really truly matters to us. So in this workshop today, my intention is really to help you to find what works for you in terms of really finding this sweet spot that you can find between work, life, self-care, this balance in any environment, whether you are in lockdown or whether we're back at work, you know. So what I'm going to be sharing insights on how you can be more productive and how you can put your brain first. And hopefully we can all learn from each other. So this webinar is going to be about 40 minutes. So we'll be together for that time, and I'll aim to finish at 1:10, 1:15 max. How does that sound? So we'll be using the chat because I can't see you on videos. Yeah. So hopefully it sounds okay to everybody. So write in the chat so I know I'm not alone. Perfect. Amazing. Thank you, Rosilda. Thank you, Kate. Amazing. Thank you, Andrea. Amazing. So just a quick intro on who I am. So I'm Elodie Lavasseur, and I'm your host today. I'm the founder of Dream, Sparkle and Shine, where actually I help people to become extraordinary leaders and create a world-class business and life that they love. I trained with the Neuro Leadership Institute and I became a certified brain-based coach. And as mentioned before, I also have a full-time job and I'm an international marketing director in an international entertainment company. I actually work with different communication and engagement technique, and I use a holistic approach from different techniques that I've learned with various trainings. And all of my communication engagement techniques are based from research that are carried out by neuroscientists. And what I'm trying to do is to help and improve a person thinking in a brain-friendly way and ultimately create changes that last. I host various workshops on different topics. You can go and check on my website if you are interested. And I'm also hosting another workshop at the Iconic in a month's time, which is about creating better collaboration for a successful partnership. So that would be another interesting one. I suggest that you have a pen, notepad with you so you can do the exercise. This webinar will be interactive, so although I might not be able to see you, but we'll be able to chat, to interact in the chat. I'll ask some questions and you can leave your comment in the chat. So, and make sure you reply to everybody so everyone can see your responses. So if you have any question, also write them in the chat. If I don't have time to go through them, I will email you back or we'll find a way to get in touch so that I can answer your question properly. So if you can put your phone down or not inside, we all think we can multitask, but actually we can surely walk and talk at the same time, but only 2% of the population is what we call multitasker. Some of you will say, yeah, but I can do everything at once. And probably, you know, you can handle it. But what happened is that you can't really multitask on anything new. So if you really want to benefit from these times that we have together, try to remove any distraction. And the phone is probably the first one that comes to my mind. Because if you're doing emails as well at the same time, you really won't integrate the content really well. So I really want you to be present for that. And it's part of the self-care as well, being focused. So today I'm going to introduce you to a concept called the Healthy Mind Platter. This was developed by the Neuroleadership Institute to help you reflect on your work-life balance. And it will help you to integrate some self-care activity into your daily life. So with this tool, you'll be able to identify activities in your life that you can actually do more of or less of, and even create habits to integrate in your life to help you navigate with your work and your home responsibilities. Really consider this workshop as a framework and really take what you can apply in your life. So you won't be able to relate to everything that I'm sharing here today, right? Not all the things will be applicable, and this is not a quick fix. So really take what you can, take what feels relevant to you to apply in your own life, and you can leave the rest. And also it requires commitment to create new habits to bring balance in your life. So repetition will be part of that. But we'll see how we get on. So really see this exercise for identifying those key activities that will help you maintaining your mental well-being. So the tools that we'll be looking at today, the Healthy Mind Platter, will do just that. It will help you to generate insight and ideas about where you are now in your life regarding your mind balance and how you can improve it. So this platter has 7 essential activities which are related to self-care that are necessary for optimal mental health in your daily life. So by engaging ideally every day in these activities, you'll be able to basically, you're enabling your brain to coordinate and balance, which will strengthen your brain's internal connection and also your connection with other people. So keep in mind that we're all different and we all have our own ways. We all need different ingredients for a healthy mind, but this will give you an idea. And really take what's beneficial for you. So you're ready? So let's start. So the first ingredient, so the first ingredient, I feel like I'm really big on your screen. Here we go. The first ingredient is actually sleep time. So write on your piece of paper or whatever you have. So the first ingredient is sleep time. And several studies have proved that there is a significant link between sleep deprivation and depression. And until the middle of the last century, sleep was actually considered as a passive state that simply counteracted with sleepiness. And now, half a century later, it was discovered that we not only rest when we are sleeping, but we recuperate strength for the next day. So we need to really stop thinking about sleep as switching off. It's quite the reverse. You know, sleep is actually an active process for really repairing and enhancing your brain performance. And there is strong evidence that sleep enhances memory. It enhances creative thinking. It helps with learning. It helps to regulate your emotion. So sleep is really something that you should take seriously if you want to achieve optimal mental performance. And actually, sleep deprivation can be more lethal than food deprivation. So that's actually really interesting. I don't know if you know Arianna Huffington. Do you know who she is? She's the founder of Thrive Global, and she's written a couple of books. And one of them is called The Sleep Revolution, Transforming Your Life One Night at a Time, to educate the public on the importance of sleep, ever since she collapsed from exhaustion. So she really wanted people to know how important sleep is. And research have confirmed that most of us require between 7 and 9 hours sleep. However, on average, 44% of us actually get those 7 hours sleep, especially on work days. And you know, if it's not possible for you to get those 7 to 9 hours sleep, there is a few techniques that you can try. So one of them is called the siesta mode, which is actually one set of 5 to 7 hours of sleep and a second daytime nap of 1 to 2 hours. And the other way to combat this insufficient sleep, you can take short naps. The ideal length for alertness and performance for those naps are between 10 and 20 minutes. So have a try yourself, right? 10 minutes might work for you, 20 minutes might be better, or even 40 if you can include naps into your day. But I think you need to try it out. You need to test it, what works for you. For me, 20 minutes is the ideal time. And the other things that you can do for you is to try to really wind down before sleep. Like really give yourself a tech-free hour before bed, to really calm down your mind. Because research has revealed that the blue lights that you have on your devices reduce the melatonin level that we have in our body. And these are the chemical that induces sleep. And actually, I was reading the other day in The Guardian that 4 in 10 university students are actually addicted to their smartphone, and they have problems with their sleep. So it's actually, it's real, right? We'll become really addicted to all of our to all of our digital devices. So being in front of the screen before sleeping will really prevent you from resting properly. So really turning off your technology at least 1 hour before you go to bed would be ideal. As you can read pages of a book, you can do this gratitude exercise, you can do a short meditation. Really try to integrate or create your own evening ritual before you go to bed. So that will help you to prepare your brain for sleep. So now I'm going to ask you if you can rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low and 10 being high. Do you give your brain the rest it needs to consolidate the learning and recover the experiences from the next day? So how would you rate yourself on your sleep time? If you can write into the chat, that would be amazing. Yes, and Rana, this is right. Yes, it is the sleep revolution, one changing your life one night at a time. Yeah. All right, so we've got a couple of people rating themselves. 9, wow, amazing. That's really good. 3, 8, yes. Jenny, Ellie, 8, Amanda, 6, and Rana, 6. Okay, so we've got a good group. So now what I would like you to do, thank you for sharing, and what I would like you to do is to think about how can you integrate more sleep into your life? Think about ways, how can you achieve this? So write it next to your score on your sheet of paper, and you can share in the chat, share with everyone so everybody can get some tips from everybody about how can you achieve more sleep into your life. So I've shared a couple of tips before, but what is it that can actually work for you? What is it that you can integrate into your life to get more sleep, to get those 7 hours of sleep? Is it like really switching off your phone to prepare your bed, you prepare yourself for bedtime, doing the siesta, or doing some pause, 10 minutes of sleep before bedtime, setting an alarm, a bedtime alarm? That's a very good one, Rana. Yeah. Although you ignore it, so think about ways like if it maybe change your technique. Maybe that technique, if you're ignoring it too many times, it's probably a sign that you need to change the technique. Think about other ways that you can do that. What will trigger the fact that you can put your mind to rest? Reading before bedtime. Yeah, stretching from Rosilda. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, Maïf, turning off all the devices 1 hour before bed. Amanda, reading a book. Perfect. Perfect. Yes. And then I've got a bit more. Christina talking about, she's worried about the lack of energy. I feel body and mind exhaustion. Yes. Yeah, yes, and yeah, I wonder which one would be. I think you need to try it for you, Christina. Try what works for you, and we can have a chat as well separately if you'd like, to help you with that. Perfect. All right, I'm going to move on. The second ingredient is physical time. The physical time. So numerous studies have demonstrated the many positive effects of exercise on the brain. So exercise actually increases the blood flow to your brain. It really helps to activate those genes, that are responsible for neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is when you're making new neural connection. And it really improves that function of the prefrontal cortex, which is basically the part of your brain, the front part of your brain, which is your working memory, your ability to focus. And exercise, even small, have the capacity to really enhance memory and learning. And it actually aids recovery in patients that are suffering from brain injury and disease. So it doesn't have to be big, you know, even moderate aerobic exercise or activity have been shown to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. So things like walking, cycling, simple movement practice on a regular basis activate mechanism really that protects your brain from damages and really improve your learning and mental performances. I heard the other day, there is this, I can't remember his name, but it's a CEO of a big company. He has a job and he's also a professional cycler. So he actually cycled during his meeting. So he's on his Peloton bike and he's having his meeting on his Peloton bike. But actually it really helps for his mental performances as well throughout the day. So think about like during your work day, you know, integrate some time to go outside, even for a stroll, even if it's 10 minutes to go around the block or between 1 or 2 meetings, you know, you'll feel so much productive by doing so. Someone was also sharing with me the other day that after they get dressed in the morning, they actually go out of the house as if they're going to the office, but they're not taking the transport, but they're just going around the block and then they're ready to start their day. They feel like they've gone out, they've done the block, they've actually taken some fresh air, they've walked, and then they come back and start virtual commutes. Exactly, Amanda, this is it. And actually what this actually does, it really helps with cutting the stress hormone levels in the body and release this endorphin hormones that makes you feel good. And you know, you can plan a workout. I mean, nowadays, even virtually, you know, you've got those online HIIT training, yogas, Pilates. If you can include some of them, even 30 minutes, but if you don't have that time, even 10 minutes walk would do the trick, like an active walk. So if you can rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on your physical activity time, 1 being low and 10 being high. So how are you integrating exercise, even small, as part of your daily or weekly routine? How would you rate yourself? So write it in the chat so we can see. So we've got a couple of, Lola 2, perfect. So you can think of ways of doing that, integrating it more. Rosilda 6 and could be better. Rana 9, amazing. Andrea 7.1. I know 7. Maïve 10, amazing. Oh wow, congratulate yourself, Maïve. This is definitely an amazing achievement if you're doing already 12,000 steps a day challenge for the month of March. Yeah, and exactly, having a challenge could actually be the thing for you. And Rana is saying the Peloton has been a game changer for her. Here we go. The next things you know, you might be doing your meetings on the Peloton. So think about ways, about what is it that you can be doing to increase that number. This is your current situation. Where do you want to be? If you want to be a 7 or 8, you know, what is it that you can be doing? Can you go for a little walk? So write down any creative tips that you might be able to integrate into your life. You know, really small. It doesn't have to be big. If you're doing really, really well, perfect. You know, share insight with the people here on the call. That would be really helpful. So having a dog really helps. Yeah, thinking about going for a little walk with a dog just after a couple of meetings. Great. So anyone wants to write in the chat, what is it that you can do to improve your physical time? Oh, here we go, we're getting it. So more exercise in the morning. Yes, so see how you can integrate this in the morning, you know, prepare even if it's just like little stretches. Like in the morning, my routine in the morning is actually I do a couple of exercise and actually it takes me 5 minutes. I don't push it as much, you know, it's kind of nice. Yeah. Andrea included daily walk. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. And Rana trying to get more steps. Okay, you're 9, but why not a 10? More walk and talk. You can do, yeah, walk and talk meeting. This also is a game changer. All right, so let's move on to the third ingredient. So if you can write into your piece of paper, the third ingredient is focus time. So what I mean by focus time, I refer to a sustained attention on a single task. And during that time, you'll find yourself in a state of flow, which is actually characterized by being completely absorbed in a task and not noticing time passing. I'm sure you've been in that time, in that flow before, right? You can relate to that. You probably remember a time where you've been doing that. And this is an important activity because it really allows your brain to gain a sense of mastery and really complete important tasks. So if you're playing guitar, for example, you have a hobby, or piano, right? This can fall under the focus time category because you will be in that state of flow. You'll be so focused and not noticing the time passing that this will trigger this state of flow. And unfortunately, quality time can be really hard to, quality focus time can be really hard to achieve, especially, when your life is full of distraction from digital devices, all the notifications that we're getting from our computer, from our phone, the news. We're getting unexpected calls from coworker on Zoom. I have that. Like I'll start typing an email. I'm in the focus zone. And then out of a sudden, somebody is going to try to call me and I'm typing, but it will automatically pick up the Zoom call. And I'm like, oh no. So, or even like your dogs wants to go for a walk, or you get interrupted by kids at home, or your husband. There is something always going on. We have probably multiple projects on the go, and it's really hard to juggle between working from home, your work, and your family responsibilities. So the ability to actually refocus following a distraction is really hard to achieve, given the fact that we continuously switch our spotlight of attention back and forth between different stimuli. And what happened is that we end up multitasking. And we stop what we were doing to help that coworker to deal with whatever interruption happened. And the consequence of multitasking really diminishes your cognitive performance. So, and it will take about 23 to 25 minutes to completely refocus on the task that you were doing before the interruption. So it's actually quite a long time when you think about it. And one of the best ways to get as much quality focus time in your daily life is to really learn how to focus entirely on either the person you're talking or on the task that you're actually doing while you are exerting self-control to block out any interference as possible, as many as you can. And in terms of neuroscience, sustaining attention requires your prefrontal cortex, so the front part of your brain. It requires your brain to be in this state of optimal arousal. Meaning that if this part of your brain is too bored, so there is a lack of stimulation, and if it's too stressed, so if it's overstimulated, this will lead to distraction and it will lead to a lot of lack of focus. So one of the easiest way, and probably the most effective way, is to take your brain from that stress state to a thrive state. And what you can do is to breathe for a couple of minutes. So I know it sounds very simple, but actually breathing resets the brain. And deep mindful breathing and framing the stressor, like being aware that what is causing you stress is actually transient, can really help you to maintain the attentional focus by keeping optimal level of arousal. So I'm listening to a podcast at the moment. It's Dr. Caroline Leaf. She is a neuroscientist and she's the author of a new book she's just written called Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess. And I really love the way she talks. And she came up with this great technique called the 10-second pause to refocus and calm your mind. So I'll share it with you. And basically, it's you inhale for 3 seconds as you say out loud or in your mind, think, feel. And then you exhale for 7 seconds by saying choose. So you think, feel, and you choose for 7 seconds. And that's basically what helps your mind. You can either say it out loud or in your mind, but it really, if you do this 6 or 9 times, so that's about 60 to 90 seconds. We're talking about a minute and a half here. And what it will do, it will increase the oxygen and blood flow in front of your brain. So the other thing that you can help to increase focus, your focus time, is meditation, because you need to train your mind to be able to focus. You need to be able to train your mind to remove those distractions as well at the same time. So there's apps like Calm or Budify. So what I'd like you to do is to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. What is your focus time activity? So 1 being low and 10 being high. How are you doing on sustaining your attention and staying focused on a task-orientated way? Thank you, Christoph. Yeah, it is Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess by Dr. Caroline Leaf. Thank you, Christoph, for putting into the chat. Perfect. So how are people doing on their focus time? So we've got Alex 5, Lola 4, okay, Maïv 3, okay, and Jamie 6. Perfect. Yeah. Now we've got a couple, and Andrea 5. Roots 2, yes. So it's interesting, right? So think about what is it that you can integrate into your life that will help you to be more focused, to integrate that time. So how can you get from, like Rachel, you're on a 5, how can you get to a 6, for example? What is the one thing that you can integrate today to increase your focus time? So yeah, see if you have any tips, or see if anything that I've shared above, before, work for you. See what is it that you can do to integrate more focus time into your life. How can you get from a 4 to a 5, or from a 6 to a 7? And 5 minutes meditation for Andrea. Yeah, if you can integrate that, even if it's, if you start with even 2 minutes a day, I use Calm. I do 12 minutes meditation after lunchtime, and they've got those daily meditation, and it actually really helps me to refocus. Yeah, regular meditation, breathing exercise, even the breathing exercise that I've just shared today would be really helpful, just so you can calm yourself, even in between meeting. Think about the environment you are in. Yes, that's also a very good tip, Jamie. Yeah, exactly. Like thinking, like even looking, even feeling the environment you're in. So it could be another one. Yes, perfect. So I'm conscious of the time, so I'm going to move on. And we are on ingredient number 4. So number 4 is connecting time. So our brain's default network is actually social. Right? And when we actually stop performing cognitive, effortful tasks and allow ourselves to relax, that's when the brain's default networks actually turn on. This would be the region of the brain that are responsible for thinking about yourself and others. Think about social media, for example. We're driven to social media because we want to see what's happening in other people's life. We want to know how other people are doing. It's our nature. So it's, in a year into lockdown, we're still craving of social support, and even more, in having this support in person. And it's really difficult, even more for older people or at-risk population, because we're being asked to avoid people. And this goes against our normal behavior. Avoid people face to face. And it is against our normal behavior because we're drawn to people. So it's really outside our script. And research shows that social support not only improves your physical health and mortality, it also helps people to manage stress. It will help you to confront challenges. It helps you to maintain a positive outlook on life. And it also helps with depression. And it has been shown to really improve your immune system when you keep connected. There is a neuroscientist called Matthew Lieberman. He is one of the founders of the social cognitive neuroscience. He sees social connection as a basic human need, in the same category as food, shelter, and water. So if we are actually socially rejected, this could cause a sense of physical pain due to our social wiring. So it's really interesting to know that if we feel socially rejected, we can sense physical pain in the same pain. So connecting time should be viewed not as a luxury, but a necessity. So the perception that others are actually available to provide assistance or emotional support really reduces the negative effect of stress on health. And in those times, we're being at home, the connection is less likely to be physical, but more likely to be online. So we might actually feel overwhelmed, by the increase of this digital social connection. But we do need to put effort to connect with our loved one, with the people that we care. Call a family member, have a chat with a friend, ask how they are, ask them questions about themselves, and try to be there and deeply listen. Make them feel seen. even a simple text or even an email to somebody, you know, I'm thinking of you and I hope you're well. You know, this will not only make the other person feel appreciated, but you will also feel a deep feeling of gratitude for the people you have in your life. And this will increase your compassion level. So even think about who is that person you're going to connect with today, to send a text to say, how are you doing? I have a friend right now and she's struggling because her mom is in intensive care because of COVID. I want to be here for her, you know, so it's, and I wouldn't know that if I don't approach people. So I think it's really important to, even if we feel overwhelmed, like really go for it. Like, don't hesitate, don't think, oh yes, they're going to be busy. If they're busy, they won't pick up the phone. So really make that time for other people. And yeah, so how do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on connecting time? So 1 being low and 10 being high. How much time do you allocate to connect with people? Yeah, the pandemic, I agree, Anna. Yeah, the novelty is no longer around. Yeah, it's very true. Completely relate to that. Yes, so 8, 5. I've got some 2 here, some 3, Lola. Yeah. Some 8. It would have been 9 pre-pandemic. Yes. Yeah, and Rachel 8. Yeah, thank you for sharing. That's really good to know. And so if you are a 3, how can you get to a 4? What is it that you can do to integrate connecting time a bit more into your life? So think about ways, any creative tip that you can write into the chat or maybe into your piece of paper so that you can remember what you've written, so that it's useful for you, but it would be quite nice to see what other people have in mind, that on how they can improve this connecting time into their life a bit more, you know, even if it's setting up those weekly family call on Sunday, setting up a reminder, yes, on who to connect and actually do it. Yeah, put it in your calendar. Definitely, that's a very good one, Shazida. Yeah, that's a good one. Have drink virtually with friends, Andrea. Yeah, for just a catch up. Yes, that could work. Yeah. And right now on weekends, it's easier for me, yeah, because maybe we're so busy during the week. So yeah, sending a picture, WhatsApp picture of the kids to the people that you care, that's also could be a good one. Yeah. Oh, Rachel, that's a very good one. You started writing cards. That's amazing. And notes. That's a very good one as well. Thank you all for sharing. This is really helpful for everybody. Yes. So the 5th ingredient is playtime. So playtime, you're going to be like, what? Playtime? What is this self-care activity? But actually play, you know, might seem very frivolous. It's like an unimportant behavior with no apparent purpose, but it's earned new respect with biologists, neuroscientists, psychologists, because play is indeed serious business. And perhaps equally important as other basic drives, such as sleep, rest, and food. So all of those that I'm sharing with you today are actually all based on neuroscience. And play also appear to help develop social skills, as well as facilitate creativity and learning in adults, and is actually an essential component in a child development to really help them to manage the stress and become resilient. So adult playtime, if you consider integrating play into your week. So play could be, it needs to be social. It needs to provide unexpected and novel solution. It's really important that it generates laughter as well, so that you can laugh with it. So because it will release those dopamine hormones, and it will create all important towards state that really will support your optimal cortical function, which are responsible for bringing more creativity and helps with memory in your brain. So play shouldn't be considered just as an escape. It actually, you know, it helps us to integrate and reconcile difficult, contradictory situation. And it often shows us a way out of a problem. So when you're switching between an in control state, an out of control state, it produces an emotional state called having fun. So ideas, right? Bubblegum competition, even online, we can do that. Drawing, painting, any board game, dancing is playing. You know, you can dress up. You can do a home karaoke. So there'll be different play games that you can integrate. So how do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in your playtime activity currently? So 1 being low and 10 being high. So when do you actually allow yourself to be spontaneous, creative, and playful? So we've got a couple of, and we've got Karima as well, who said about, playing music with other people, playing tennis. That's really good. Yeah. So we've got 7, 6. Yes, I look after my niece, and yes, Sunday play day, perfect liberty. This is very good. Yeah, playing with your kids is probably the best thing, you know. Yes, and 6, only because I have a little sister, Lola. Yeah, you see, that's good. But let's see how you can integrate play, you know, with yourself, with other people. And Chiara, 6. So think about ways, how can you integrate more playtime into your life? Like what is play that you can do? Like if you're a 5, how can you get to a 6? What is this one thing, one activity that you could be doing? So think about what that could be. So how can you get, we've got Monopoly Deal. It's a brilliant game for adults and kids from Rana. Oh, that's perfect. And it's actually much better than the original board game. Thank you, Rana, for the tip. And Chiara, playing with my nephew. Yes, so that's another one, playing with kids. Amazing. So write into the chat if you have more time. And while you're writing into the chat for ideas, I'm going to move on to the next ingredient because it's already nearly 1:10. So downtime is a 6th ingredient. So downtime refers to inactivity. So it actually refers intentionally having no goal or outcome in mind. So it's a bit like lazing, chilling out, daydreaming, disconnecting, hanging out, you know, being spontaneous. You have no goal or focus in mind. So, you know, like a lazy Sunday morning with no plan. Do you see what I mean? Great. So it's like a wakeful state, you know, like being in the moment with spontaneous emergence of whatever activity may or may not arise, you know, rather than doing a pre-planned activity with a goal. And we tend to naturally enter in these states when we are mentally exhausted. But it's not an activity many of us actually consciously schedule into our day. And downtime can occur between activities while you're listening to music or you're looking through a magazine, but you're not paying attention, not focus attention onto what's being heard or what's being said or what's being, you know, written. So you're just like flicking through the pages, you know. So downtime is actually different than leisure time. So hobbies, so playing guitar, will go under focus time. And if you are going for a run or you're doing some exercise, this will go, so sports will go under physical time, so that you can make the difference between those. So, and crucially, you know, the downtime state seems to be one of the common precursor to insight, especially when it comes after an intensive period of focus time. There is a book called The Breakout Principle, and in this book, it is suggested that the best way to solve an issue, to a complex problem, is to actually struggle with it. So really struggle with it, you know, gather all the facts, ask all the questions, to a point where you stop feeling productive. And you may even start feeling anxious and stressed about that. That's a good sign. So the second step is actually to distract yourself from the problem completely. And you can do this by taking a hot shower, listening to calm music. You know, the idea is really to stop analyzing, really surrender and completely detach yourself from this stress-producing thought. You know, this typically will lead to what the author called the breakout. So that will be the sudden insight to this new perspective, and it will show you a whole new light on the problem at hand. So it might be difficult to integrate those breaks, you know, but especially when we're working from home. However, some small breaks are needed to sort and really integrate those elements for your creativity to emerge. So if you can rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on your downtime activity, so 1 being low and 10 being high, how much time do you allocate for non-focused, no specific goal activity? So really letting your mind wander, you know, or simply relax. Even looking at your windows and looking at trees is, you know, a downtime activity. So we've got a couple. So Rosilda, 7. Yes, Maïv, 6. Rana, 5. Lola, 5. And Chiara, 4. Yeah, I saw a 2. Yeah, Liberty, 2 as well. Yes. So think about ways. How can you consciously increase your downtime activity? What activities can you consciously integrate as part of your daily life? to help your brain to refocus. So how can you say, simply let your mind wander? I saw some people say, oh, I'm actually, Netflix is my downtime. And it could be because if you're not really paying attention to it, that's probably what downtime is. Yes. And some people feel guilty, yes, when you're not feeling productive. And that's a good point, Andrea. Yeah. And actually it's interesting, it's probably another topic, but try to do it even on a smaller scale. Even if it's consciously looking out of the window and being like, okay, I need to breathe for a moment, I need to have downtime. That could actually really help. Yeah, we've got a lot of guilty people for not doing something productive. All right, I'll move on because I've got to do this last ingredient, which will be time in. So the time in is actually this focused attention on the inner self in the here and now. So pre-COVID, there was some research done by the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. They shared a report that said that 26 to 44% of workers, they feel stress of burnout because of work. And I'm not sure, with the working from home and the external factor, that might have increased. I'm not sure. I need to check. But roughly 60% of the doctor's visit were related from, stress, or they were related to stress. So relaxation can come in various forms, such as like walking into the nature or listening to music. So it goes back to downtime, right? But here, when I'm talking about time in the Healthy Mind Platter, I refer to much more than relaxation. I'm referring to like a broader practice of meditation, which is, a part of which is basically a benefit of relaxation. So it's a way basically to train your mind to self-regulate our attention. So the description of meditation are definitely varied, but one that got the attention of neuroscientists is mindfulness meditation. So mindfulness meditation has been described as the practice of paying attention in a particular way on purpose in the present moment and in a non-judgmental way. So rather than changing the environment of the situation, mindfulness aims at really becoming aware and accepting the thoughts, the feeling, or the body sensations that are happening now. So according to neuroscientists, part of the positive effect of mindfulness may be due to the labeling effect. Because when you're labeling your emotion, you're feeling it really helps to become aware of what's happening in your body and really dampen down the level of stress in your brain. So the benefits of mindfulness are really extensive. Studies have shown that when you're practicing on a regular basis, it really helps to regulate your emotion, enhance your attention and your creativity. It increases your empathy as well. So how do you rate yourself on your time in activity on a scale of 1 to 10? How much time do you allocate when you quietly reflect internally, focusing on sensation, focusing on images, focusing on feeling or thoughts? 1 being low and 10 being high. So if you can share in the chat, 3 and 1, yeah. So we've got a couple, 1, 2, 2, 2 for Andreas, 3 for Lola. Yes. 5, I do this was walking. Yes. Perfect. So if you can find ways, how can you integrate, more time in? Think about ways you can do that. If you have any creative tips about how can you integrate more mindfulness into your life, can you take 5 minutes to see the environment you're in? Like it goes back to really like feeling how it's being present. It's going back to being present. And so think about those ways about how you can integrate the timing activity. So I don't think we'll have time to put more into to put this more into that. But what I would like to do is to ask you, what are the main takeaways that you are taking from this presentation today? So I've got 3 takeaways that I'm going to share with you, but I wanted to know what is it for you that stood out for you from this presentation? What is it that you're going to take off today and you're going to be able to apply? Like even if it's just one thing, even one keyword. Put your phone away, Liberty, that's a good one. Very good. Okay, that's amazing. Rana, being creative and change it up. Yeah, Rosilda, incorporating more movement into your day. Perfect. Andrea, you have to work on your mindfulness and reflect internally. Very good. And on another Andrea, scheduling connecting time with people you care about, having some me time. Thank you so much for sharing all this. This is really, really, really important. I'll share that. And so here we go. So some key takeaway, yeah. So mind, mind health is different from physical health, so that you know what it is. And remember that decision fatigue is actually real. So make sure you integrate those breaks into your day to give, to be more productive. So people feel more guilty when they're not doing anything, but then when you have too much on, then you're increasing your stress level. So it might not be the best way to proceed and really clear your mind. So multitasking is definitely not the solution of the busy day. Focus time is essentially for high quality work, and you get done more in less time. So try not to jump back and forth, between tasks, and really allocate those time of focus.